last time I could feel that power in my hands, beat of the drums rushing through my skin.
It's trophy finals day in the WBBL and the BBL, and the London Lions are out to defend their titles in both.
These are two WBBL powerhouses, as we've established. Anakana with space for another three, strikes it again!
The London Lions, who are just high-flying.
Lynchburn drives, kicks, Leonard for three. A major trophy up for grabs, and two of the biggest hitters are both firmly fixated on the prize.
Away, the races again! What a slam! Lots of the alley-oop! Thrown down by Kelly!
Getting into the paint, great finish from Neymar Wright.
It's a clutch team that can bring it out when it matters.
But you can't forget about this London Lions team, because if you take their attention away from them, you could easily get devoured.
We're live from the Emirates Arena in Glasgow for one of the season's showcase events. Silverware is on the line in the WBBL and the BBL. Like last year, both trophies could be heading back to the capital. Later on, the men take centre stage with the London Lions defending their title against the Cheshire Phoenix, one of the most exciting and explosive teams in the league. But first up, it's the turn of the WBBL Stars, with the two best teams in the league facing off as the Sevenoaks Suns take on the London Lions, who since winning this title last season have gone from strength to strength. A very good afternoon to you. Two compelling matchups in store, expecting a packed house here in Glasgow and plenty of British basketball legends to guide you through proceedings this afternoon, including Siobhan Pryor and Kieran Achara. Delighted to see you both on a day like this. Days like this that you know all about, Siobhan, although you played in last year's final under very different circumstances.
Yeah, very, very different circumstances. I've played in finals where the stands are packed, and obviously last year due to COVID that wasn't able to happen, but it's so exciting for British basketball that, you know, we're back on Sky Sports and we've got everybody in the arenas. It's really exciting. Double
header, of course, Kieran. The men's final a little bit later on. I know you'd have loved to have seen your Rocks on the court, but we're expecting an exciting matchup between the London Lions, always heavyweights in the league, and an explosive Cheshire side.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm gutted that Glasgow are not here, but I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. London have been quite volatile of recent, so I think Cheshire have got everything to prove tonight.
Wide open, isn't it? London gunning for two titles, of course, today. First things first, Siobhan, explain to everybody watching at home just how incredible this WBBL side has been this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to explain on one hand, but on the other hand, it's easy. They haven't lost in domestic competition, and they've also made history on the European stage in Euro Cup as well, so there's something really special, and if you think this is the first year they've truly dominated, there's some exciting things to come.
Well, the Suns, their opponents, have only lost once this season to London. So do you think this is going to be a pretty even matchup this afternoon?
I definitely believe so. I do believe London are a little bit deeper, and you know, they've got a little bit more depth, but Suns are used to winning. You know, they've got a winning coach, winning players. They've been a core group of players who know the game very well. It's going to be a very exciting game.
That is our first matchup of this afternoon, the WBBL Trophy Final. We'll get to some of the key matchups in that game in just a moment, but we thought it's only appropriate to lead off today's broadcast by remembering the great Betty Codona, a true titan of British basketball who passed away this week. Just how influential a figure has she been to the domestic game, Siobhan?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to even put into words. Obviously, she's the most successful coach, men's, women's, of all time, 37 titles. But it's more than that. She was a pioneer for women and women's sport and women's basketball. And you know that if you were in a room with her, she was going to speak up. And it allowed you to have a voice. And I think the special thing that she will leave is that legacy through her daughter Vanessa, Lorraine, and also through Georgia, who's playing for Sheffield right now.
And her granddaughter's playing as well. It's an incredible legacy she's left here in over 6 decades.
Unbelievable. And you talk about passion. Speaking to Betty, anytime she lit up a room, you could feel the passion. She was inspiring, and as Siobhan had mentioned, that legacy will continue through the Hatters, through Georgia, and through Vanessa.
The great Betty Codona OBE, who sadly passed away this week. Well, if we look at the history of this tournament, Betty Sheffield won the inaugural WBBL trophy in the very first season, 2014-15. The trophy's been won by 4 different clubs over its 7-year history. Leicester holding the record for the most trophy wins, completing a treble of trophy final victories from 2018 to 2020. And London, of course, looking to retain the title that they won last season. And that win was important, wasn't it, Siobhan, in terms of it being the catalyst for the success that we've seen over the last 12 months?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And I also think it enabled Coach Mark Clark to have those conversations over the summer about what he really wanted to do with this programme and where he wanted to take it. So it was a catalyst. It was important for them. It's
been a great year for them, and the trophy no exception. This is how they have found their way to the final, blowing away Manchester in the quarterfinals. Sevenoaks beat Essex in the same round. That Lions win set up a semi-final against Nottingham, the Lions beating the Wildcats pretty comprehensively. Sevenoaks had a more challenging contest in their semi-final against the Leicester Riders, but in the end, the margin was comfortable. So that London semi-final against Nottingham, a huge win, as we've just seen. They beat Newcastle by 40 in the Cup as well. So this is a team, Siobhan, capable of absolutely dominating its opponents.
They really are, because they're just so deep in every single position. I think it's going to be interesting today because both teams know each other very well. They know their teammates well. They're well-oiled machines. I think the difference today is going to be that London can do that through 8-9 players, and whether Sevenoaks can keep up with that.
In terms of strength and depth. Well, Sevenoaks has had a terrific season. We've said only the one loss to London. That was very early on in the season in the Cup, and they breezed through the trophy as well. Huge boost in this semi-final was the return of Jamila Thompson from injury, Kieran, who plays today. How important is her return defensively for them?
It's a big piece. I think Jamila, she brings size. She brings athleticism, brings length. We always talk about how strong London are, second chance points, points in the paint. Jamila can completely disrupt all of that.
This Suns team only lost once this season, as I say, so there's very little to choose between the two sides. Do you think that depth in roster is perhaps the biggest task that they've got to overcome today?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said before, like Len's been coaching Sevenoaks for so long, Mark the same. Mark's actually coaching some of his players he coached when they were younger, same for Len. So I think the only thing in that sense that does separate them is depth.
In terms of that balance that I guess every team in the WBBL and the BBL has to strike every season, it is the one between cohesion and returning faces and new faces. How have Sevenoaks tackled that?
It's through culture. If you talk to any of the players, like Renee said to me before the show, it's just great to be on a stage and playing with your best friends. So they get along, and that's one of the reasons that will pull them back to this club. The culture that they've created together and how well they get on together, and it translates to how they play.
Well, let's find out a little bit more about that Sevenoaks culture as we get inside their locker room.
I would say we all do, because if I pick one person, I think that's a bit mean.
Oh, it's low key, definitely be Cat, yeah. Cat Clark, for sure.
Did they pick people? Oh my God, these girls are shady. Okay.
Myself. She gets triple doubles, she can assist, rebound, score. Such an all-rounder, captain.
Okay, I'll just go with Cat again.
Best shooter on the team, I think, is Renee Bush.
It's gonna be Renee.
Renee.
She's been the sniper of the league for years. Just consistency all the way through.
The best shooter on the team, I think, is me. That's what I do. That's my whole job. My whole career is based around being a good shooter.
You've got a few tough people.
I think Cat Carr is the toughest.
Cat, I feel like she doesn't let a lot like phase her.
She's not just physically strong, but also mentally. Renee or Frankie?
Toughest on the team is Frankie. She just keeps going. She's willing to do whatever it takes.
I'll give that to Renee. I think she's just the most hardworking.
They just keep playing, keep hustling through all the contact, they're all a little bit tough.
You did, just because she's always doing up and down sprints.
She just literally runs up and down, up and down.
She'd have done a 5K by the time we stopped.
Up and down, up and down. And it could be like for 30 minutes and we're like, you're not tired.
I'm trying to figure out where she's running to, but
she just runs and runs and runs.
Up and down, up and down.
I'd say that's a bit weird. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. There is absolutely no superstition. I just like to run.
Jules, because she elbows me in practice in my, areas, and it hurts, so I would dunk on her.
It would be Jam or Janice, for sure.
I would dunk on Janice because I know she'd take it personally, and I like that for myself.
They just would get so mad.
Jam, purely because when I played against her a few years ago when she was at Leicester, she blocked me.
Jam. What type of dunk? Oh, 360. Backward slam.
I'd pick Jam because I know she'd be mad. 2 feet, windmill.
If there was anybody on the team that I could dunk on, I would dunk on Jam because she would be the most mad about it.
Yeah. I think we've built a culture what's not comparable to any other team, like a sisterhood.
We're a family. We love to play together.
We always have each other's backs.
We all want the best from each other. We like to win a lot.
Kieran, it's a good balance, isn't it? A team that plays for each other, fused with deep-seated ambition.
Yes, and very much so. That's a motivation factor too. When you're not having a great game, you're looking at your teammates and you're thinking, I need to step up because you believe in them. They know what is expected of you, and you're always want to deliver for people that you like. It
is that attitude that is exemplified by their skipper, Kat Carr, all-time leading WBBL point scorer. Does it stand to reason, Siobhan, that typically if she's in the zone, then the whole team's in sync?
Yeah, I think the team goes the way she goes. I mean, we talk about her scoring ability, but actually she does so much more on the court. She's a great passer, great rebounder, and she's just a really vocal leader. So definitely, the way she goes, the team goes.
Renee Bush is a record-breaking point guard, one of the big stars in the BBL, and a very dangerous shooter from downtown.
Unbelievably. I think she's 46% right now from 3. So, yeah, you cannot leave her open.
How will London look to keep her in check?
Follow her around everywhere. Do not let her catch the ball. You just have to know where she is at all times.
Frankie Wirtz is, a player that her skipper calls the toughest on the team. Other than steal, what else does she bring to this side?
She can bring scoring in bunches as well. It's been a little up and down for her this season, but definitely, she can shoot the ball, and if she's on, she's on. So she can bring scoring. Rebounding is also, a massive thing for her. She had 16 rebounds in her last game against Sheffield, so great rebounding guard.
Now, based on that, BT, we've been keeping a pretty close eye on Judith Fritz pre-game. Definitely a lot of running going on, but there's also going to be plenty of shooting as well. Almost 60% from the field this season.
Yeah, she's another player. When she played in Cardiff, her role was to score. She averaged over 20 points a game. She can score as well. They're a really balanced scoring side, Sevenoaks, just like London are. So, yeah, you can't sleep on anyone on this roster.
It is a serious roster, and we are really keenly looking forward to this matchup, this clash of the Titans in the WBBL. Let's hear from the Sevenoaks head coach, Len Bush. He caught up a little bit earlier on with Drew.
Coach, it's the trophy finals, a capacity crowd. How significant is this stage for women's basketball?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's 2 good teams in an arena with a big crowd and a TV audience on Sky. We couldn't be happier, and it's great for the league.
This group is described as a sisterhood. How happy are you with the team and the season so far?
I'm very happy. They're a joy to be around. I'm privileged to get to work with them every day, and I'm looking forward to another good performance.
What's your thoughts on the Lions so far this season?
Well, they're a terrific team. They're very deep. They're playing well. There's a lot of things to think about when you're thinking about going to play them. But it's basketball in the end. We got some good players too, so hopefully it'll be a good game.
And what are the keys to taking down the mighty Lions and lifting the trophy?
Probably limiting our mistakes, taking care of the basketball, and then we need some shots to go in. And we need to contain, some of their weapons. And it's a normal game, except there's some good players over there. More than normal.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck today.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
He's a vastly experienced coach, of course. Kieran, how important is that experience going to be this afternoon?
I think it helps steady the ship. I think during finals it can be a little bit wishy-washy at the start of the game. Len's been here before. He trusts these players. I think he'll have that calming sense to kind of help them get off to a good start. This
is a standout Sevenoaks side, as we've been saying, but in a way they're under the radar, given the impressive season the Lions are having. Is that going to suit Sevenoaks today, do you think?
I think so. I think they get, you're always looking for motivation, that little chip on your shoulder. Sevenoaks believe in themselves. They have that. They've been able to go under the radar with Lions kind of, taking the headlines. They don't want to make them quiet today.
Okay, that's the Sevenoaks Suns. Next up, we're going to find out a little bit more about their opponents and some of the stars inside the London locker room.
I think Shanice is the scariest teammate. I had the luxury of playing against London last year and they were very scary.
I don't find anyone scary, really. Does that mean I'm the scariest? I don't know.
I'm going to go with Chantel.
Oh, snap.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the Codona WBBL Trophy Final. The Lions and the Suns going through their paces. Two teams with very little to choose between and both unbeaten in the league this season. And we're going to concentrate now on the London Lions. They are being billed as clear favourites today, Kieran. But given Sevenoaks' history and the experience that they've had collectively as an organisation of days like this, do you think that's a little unfair on Sevenoaks?
You know what? I can't say it is unfair. London Lions, they're an exceptional team. They are way above the British standards at this moment in time, and it's something to reach for. But at the same time, there's a fear that do they get up for every single game? You know, actually being such a overwhelming favourites to get up for the actual game, that's probably the hardest thing from a London Lions perspective.
Well, Sevenoaks have been winning for a while. London, on the other hand, have made up for lost time. This is their 4th consecutive WBBL final, starting with that 2021 trophy final that we talked about a bit earlier as the catalyst for this success. Most recently, of course, the cup final a little bit earlier on this season, and that huge game, Siobhan, in Europe as well. Talk us through their European campaign this year.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Just to get to the stage that they got to. But I was talking to Joe, Leader-Warner, about it before this game actually, and even just to see Bourges. So if anyone at home doesn't know who that is, that's like Manchester United, and to see just on social media everywhere, like London Lions beat Bourges, it's crazy, and you know it's where they want to leave off.
Huge for them as an organisation, huge for British basketball as well, to see teams able to do that. A stacked roster full of stars. You mentioned Joe Leader-Warner, who has had a glitteringly successful career in Europe, now adding to a medal collection back home. Azania Stewart, over 100 caps for Team GB. Kennedy Leonard, one of the stars of the WBBL. Cassie Breen. I mean, this is truly, Kieran, an all-star roster, isn't it?
Very deep roster. And you know what? Some of the players coming off the bench, they would be starting them, most of these teams in the WBBL. So it's great to see the depth and the strength and depth.
All right, well, let's find out a little bit more about this Lions side as we get inside their locker room.
We're all talented, so it's a tough one.
All 12 of us? I think I said the same thing last year when I did this.
I'm going to go with Joe.
I'm going to say Joe, because she does it all. She brings offense, defense.
She's done it for so long at such a high level.
Yeah, I'm not answering that question. Flat out, I'm not answering it.
What if everyone else said you?
Good for them.
The best defensive player or players would be Shanice or Chantel.
Shanice and Chantel. I would go with Chantel Charles. She really is physical, she's smart and intelligent. Yeah, she lays her body all out there.
I'm gonna go with Shanice. We call her Flash.
You wouldn't want anyone else to be guarding the ball.
When it comes to like locking down one-on-one and being on the ball, I love to play defense.
We have a fair few. It's a running fashion show for us.
Are we talking shoe game or just the whole fit? Okay, shoe game, I would go for Chantel because she's just a sneakerhead.
The one that I appeal to most is probably Azania.
Like Z comes to game day with her like long jacket, her little handbag on her shoulders, and she has the little camo thing going on. I like those fits. Oh, throw Paige in there as well.
Who's a model, so she is pretty cool. I am amazing. Amazing style. Yeah, I got it all, but I couldn't say myself, could I?
With a bunch of fashionistas. I think Shanice is the scariest teammate.
Oftentimes here, Holly say Shanice is really scary.
Well, I had the luxury of playing against London last year, and they were very scary.
I don't find anyone scary, really. Does that mean I'm the scariest? I don't know.
I guess don't say Chantel. I can see Chantel being scary.
I'm gonna go with Chantel.
Oh, snap. We've got a lot of different options.
Going to be Kennedy. I'd say Ken.
I think Kennedy's definitely the fan favourite.
Because my nephew adores her.
She's broken a couple records.
She just has a really cool persona, gets the job done.
I know Paige is probably a fan favourite just because she does all the social media stuff.
She has a great following, she's fun.
I am top 10. Top 5, top 3, top 2.
Probably Joe or Z.
Joe and Z.
Azania and Joe.
They're the two who are usually always saying something.
They're older players, they've much more experience than a lot of other people on the team.
Some of our locker room talks, I would say cameras should not be in there, but they have motivated us, got us to come out of the locker room into games a lot better than we've gone in.
It's a really interesting mix of seasoned vets and young talent, and as you saw there, a confident locker room. Let's key in on a couple of the players starting with the vets and Azania Stewart, we have to start with her. She talked in the build-up to the game about how this team wants to win it all this year, Siobhan, and she's achieved so much. But if they do go on to do that, what would that do for her legacy?
I mean, I think, her legacy is what she leaves for the young British players behind. And I think it's so special that she and Jo are able to play here towards the end of their career. And I think that is the legacy that they're building. They want to leave something special for the younger players to take on.
Well, Jo Leedham-Warner, a player you described, Kieran, as doing it all.
Yeah, she does it all, and she's relentless. She just wants to win and knows how to win too, which is obviously rubbing off on her teammates.
Kennedy Leonard, how important is she, Siobhan, in terms of controlling the pace and the rhythm of this Lions side?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's absolutely key. She was last season as well. She's obviously a returning piece. But yeah, she gets her teammates involved. She can score when she needs to, but she controls the tempo of the game.
All right, Drew caught up a little bit earlier on with the Lions head coach, Mark Clark.
Coach, the Lions' fourth consecutive final, dating back to last year's trophy final. Is this the beginning of a dynasty?
That's a big statement. Word dynasty is a huge thing, but I'm going to give you a cliche back. We'll take it one at a time, and if we end up with a dynasty, then we're looking at a long-term program. It's never just a one-off for us. We're keeping adding players. The organisation grows. Everything. That's those things in the off-court as well as on-court stuff. You need to be a dynasty. We're trying to build those, but to get the dynasty going, you've got to keep winning.
Standard has been a word that this team has coined this season. What will you consider success for this talented group?
For this talent, we've got to keep winning silverware. That's obviously one of the things, but I think the harshest judge that we have is ourselves. And if we walk off the floor at the end of every game believing we've done what we said we were going to do, believing that we were better than the last time we played, then that's success for us. But in the bigger scheme of things, you need some tangibles, and the tangibles is a national trophy.
Both teams at 14-0 in the league, the matchup we all been waiting on. What can you tell us about Sevenoaks?
They're one of the most experienced teams. They have a history, which means they're used to winning. And when you come to cup finals, that's obviously a big deal because coaching-wise and player-wise, they've been there and they've done it. So it's not like we can get someone who's inexperienced and not ready to play. They're very, 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 very methodical. They're very, very efficient. And like always for us, if our defense can take them out of what they're trying to run, we believe we've got a way of winning.
And what are the keys to the London Lions winning today?
The London Lions are the key to London Lions winning today. It's if we play the defense we need to play, if we get touches to everybody and we're efficient, then I don't think there's a team here that we can't beat. But as we proved in Europe, you've got to get it done, and they've done every week. So, if we can beat Bourges, then Sevenoaks could beat London Lions. London Lions have to come out and play.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, almost ready for tip-off. Very quickly, predictions from both of you. Kieran, which way is this one going to go?
It's London. I cannot bet against London Lions.
Siobhan?
London, just strength in depth.
Strength in depth. You mentioned it before. Could prove to be key. We are almost ready for game time here in Glasgow. The first of our double header today, and it is set to be a gripping encounter between two big-hitting sides gunning for silverware. Let's welcome the players onto the court with our commentary team for the first time today. A very good afternoon to Ant Rowe and Dan Rowley.
Good afternoon, Ant. Good afternoon, everybody. They look very calm on the sidelines. They're dancing to the music and that ahead of the intro. I mean, obviously, they've just talked about they've been to all these finals in a row over the last year, London. You look down the lineup as well. I mean, incredible talent right from the top to the bottom. There's no weak spot in this London team.
There isn't. I think that's the key difference as well. It's that depth. Both teams possess quality. That's why they're 14-0, and that's why they're sitting 1-2 currently in the league. But London have the advantage with that depth. But I think what's really special about this London Lions team is that team unity. We've seen it on court, the selflessness and the willingness to pass the ball, make the extra play, and make this an even better team.
Well, that's the thing. It's all well and good just to put a load of talent together, but it's how you get them to work as a unit, and they seem to do that. Interestingly, they talk both these teams are undefeated, so they haven't played each other since way back when in the cup group stages back at the beginning of the season. So we come in here sort of almost a little bit blind as to how these two teams match up against each other.
And I love that. I think that's great. I think, we haven't really got a preview per se. It's a long time ago they played, even different lineups back then. So this is a clean slate for both of these two teams. And what better stage to do this BBL trophy final against 1 against 2.
And again, it comes from all over the place. Kennedy Leonard coming out there. We expect big things from her because she delivers big things week in, week out. But with this London lineup, you could just pick a random name off the bench. It could be Beckford Norton, it could be Breen, it could be anybody out there who ends up being MVP of this final.
I don't know how Coach Len Bush is prepared for this, in all honesty, because of the talent that this London roster team has got. But you look at the London Lions, they lead the lead in 3-point percentage, 3 points made. They also lead the league in points in the paint. Where do you stop them?
Yeah, exactly.
Mid-range.
yeah. But what Sevenoaks do have is incredible organisational memory. This is a team that, since the WBBL started, has been used to winning year after year. And they talk about how many of them keep coming back. And a lot of these players have played through all of that success. And that's something you can't prepare for, you can't buy. It's a thing that it's learnt over years and years of delivering on the big stage. They've played in this building before. All of the things as a coach that you would want for a final.
And that's the thing I would say, and that's why, yes, the London Lions are the favourites here, but do not write off a Sevenoaks side that have been here and done that, including the coaching staff in Coach Len Bush as well. I've played in finals myself. The individuals that have been there, they're war tested. Those are the individuals that can give you that extra 5, 10, 15% what you need to be lifting that trophy at the end of the day.
And that is certainly something that Sevenoaks have. They were the dominant team in women's British basketball. They are being usurped, if you like, by the London Lions as it currently stands. But there's still a chance for Len Bush and his team to get their hands on some silverware. Here are the numbers when you look, and it's just mad. London basically lead the league in everything. If they're not first, they're second. I mean, it's crazy.
It really is, but I think it doesn't, remember, this is a trophy final. Anything can happen on one day. Maybe the points in the paint aren't quite clicking. Maybe the shots aren't going. All it takes is for that little bit of doubt to come in there. And Sevenoaks, again, they've been here before. They're war tested. They've done it. They've won. That's all they need.
That key one there, 52.8 points conceded Sevenoaks. Defensively, they've got to keep the number down. If London get up to 80, 90, they're not going to keep with them, are they?
No, I think that's where the depth comes in there. They've just got too many scorers there. But if this is one of those low, chippy-choppy, scoring games, then I feel like Sevenoaks could be in with a really, really good shout.
And we talk about Cassie Breen almost goes under the radar at times with all of the talent that they have, and yet she leads them in scoring. She's such a potent weapon, 43% from the three-point line. And again, it's one of those, where do you stop with all of this as far as the London Lions? But Kat Carr is basically a walking double-double. She has got to have a big game for her team to win this one.
She has, and we've seen her do it on the big stage. She is not shy whatsoever to put her team on the back and harness that responsibility. But I think there's another one too. Janice Manakana, she is someone that we've seen on the cup final, trophy final. She always seems to put in a substantial shift when her team really needs her. So she's someone that's going to be huge today too.
Well, we're not too far away from the opening tip here at the Emirates Arena. It is the London Lions and the Sevenoaks Suns for the WBBL trophy. We will have tip-off right after this break. three, knocks it down, big shot. Here is Breen with her first look at the basket, and it's all string for Cassie Breen. Welcome back to the Emirates Arena here in Glasgow. As we said at the top of the show, British basketball lost a titan over the last few days, Betty Codona WBBL, who was the driving force behind Sheffield Hatters. Her legacy is not just in the titles that she won, but also all the women and girls that came through Sheffield to play, those like Siobhan who were inspired to get better to try and beat Betty. And we will now take a few moments to appreciate the life of somebody who gave 6 decades to British basketball.
Separate piece of the silverware as head coach of Sheffield between 1989 and 2009, prior to moving on to work as a chair of the club. The legacy of Betty leaves goes way beyond the Hatters. It spans not only the local community but also leaves an indelible print on British basketball itself. Please stand if you are able and join us in 24 seconds of applause in recognition of her staggering accomplishments as British basketball pauses to remember and respect the true great Betty Codona WBBL. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, if there was one thing Betty was about, it was winning trophies, and we have one with her name on it now. The Betty Codona Trophy Final is upon us, and let's take a look at the starting 5, beginning with the Sevenoaks Suns. And well, we talked a lot about Kat Carr. I feel like Judith Fritz needs a big game. She's capable of putting big numbers on the board for Sevenoaks.
I think that's the biggest difference when you look at the Sevenoaks strategy here. They don't have as much depth, so that quality has to really shine through. I think you're right, Dan. Fritz has to be big. I think Thompson has to be that pillar in the middle as well, and Kat Carr has to do what she's done previously, and that's to score the ball, control the offense.
Well, at the other end of the floor, it's basically an all-star 5 that they go out with. We saw in the cup final how amazing Stewart was. We know what Joe Leedon-Warner can do. Kennedy Leonard has been an MVP. It's all over the place for this team.
Even you describing the talent and the caliber in that starting 5, any one of those 5 could be an MVP today. I think that's the hardest thing for the Sevenoaks Suns. But I think Leonard is due a big game, so perhaps look for her to really show out in today's final.
Well, the last few words from 2 very experienced, very knowledgeable coaches going to their teams ahead of the opening tip. And it is fascinating. We went to the cup final in Birmingham. We all thought London were going to win this, given the troubles that were at the other end of the floor. We still think London are going to win this one, but we're not quite as convinced here, because this is a very talented Sevenoaks side with a lot of big game experience.
You've got to remember, both of these clubs are 14-0, and it's not just a record that stands for that, Dan. It's the winning mentality. I've been in an organisation, in a team, that winning is a habit, okay? It's a mindset. And Sevenoaks right now will feel that they're not the underdogs. They feel that they can win this because they're 14-0, just like the opposition today.
Well, teams making their way out onto court. These are the moments. They just want the ball to go up and get the game underway. Here we go then. Emirates Arena in Glasgow. It is the 2022 Betty Codona WBBL Trophy Final. So it'll be Thompson and Stewart to get us underway. And it is Sevenoaks who will get the first possession of the ball game. Burts out to Carr for 3, off the mark.
Well, Carr started off aggressive on offense, looking to shoot that ball early and get some early points on the board.
Here's Winterberg. Winterberg kicks out to the corner, and Charles is off the mark, but Stewart on the offensive glass. Stewart has the ball knocked away twice, and the Suns come up with the steal. Oh, right through the hands and out of bounds for Thompson. Well, we've been joined in commentary by Siobhan Pryor. Siobhan, opening minute, neither team managing to get points on the board. Maybe 1 or 2 nerves out there.
Yeah, I think, you know, they've not played each other for such a long time, and it's a very different looking lineup. Last time they played, Azania was on limited minutes. Joe didn't play, Leader Warner. Holly did play, strings of 3, gets them on the board. Yeah, so and Shanice didn't play, so I think they're just sort of feeling each other out at this point.
Well, Holly Winterburn has been on this court before. Of course, had an injury in a trophy final a few years back, playing for Leicester. Takes a little getting used to the sight lines in the big hall in the Emirates, but she's certainly used to it already, and here she comes. Down low to Stewart. Double team comes, shot is long. That's not really any sort of screen there from Koppel. It was more of a hockey block than a screen.
And this is a customary start, you know, the finals. It's always starts like this is because you're on that big stage. None of these two teams are comfortable, so no one's got home court advantage. They're both actually a long way from home in that sense. And early chippiness of this game.
Yeah, I think it's to be expected. It'll settle down.
Here's Winterberg. Round to Leader Warner. Stewart. Charles at the elbow, short. Fritz with the rebound. Sevenoaks looking for their first points. Carr a long way short. Leonard pushing. And throwing it out of bounds. Didn't go directly out. The referees are going to chant this over.
I think this is what Jamila really brings, though, for Sevenoaks. She is a little foul prone, but she's long. She wants to play defense. She can bring some real, like, physical problems to London.
Well, a change in the call, and that London get possession of the ball. Here's Leonard. Needham Warner driving hard to the hole and then off the glass.
I really like that move. Both teams have been settling for jump shots. Leader Warner just took it into her own hands, like it's all the way to the basket. Tough finish.
She's smart. She's a vet. She's going to get an easy one for herself first, get herself going.
Well, Sevenoaks could do with an easy one right now. Koppel trying to scoop it underneath Stewart. Fritz on the offensive rebound. Out to Carr. Carr putting it on the floor. Mid-range from Fritz has Sevenoaks on the board.
That's really good basketball there. Kat Carr not settling for that contested jump shot. Gets in the heart of that defense and kicks it out there for the open jump shot.
And she gets her teammates involved.
Jump ball. The call is both players had their hands on it. That will give possession to the Suns, although they won the opening tip, didn't they? And they've been a held ball since then.
It's really good defense, though. Zania Stewart, 6'4", and she's going against Koppel there, who's a good defensive player, but she's picked up that first foul already, so teammates coming down there, helping out with a little bit of the dirty work down low.
Yeah, and you've heard so many times that teammates and coaches, a coach in college as well, Frankie Wirtz's coach, saying that she's just a worker, like she's a grafter.
Well, they did make the correction on that. The arrow was pointing the wrong way after the opening tip. Bring back the jump ball, I say. Here's Leonard.
We'll get you an official T-shirt,
Yeah,
Dan.
no,
Officials, you were on the ball there.
I think it depends how tall you are, whether you want that to happen or not, or how high you can jump, because I would not want to bring the jump ball back.
I've seen 5'10" beat 7 foot in a jump ball before.
Really?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Is there
Nice
5'10"
pass.
on a trampoline?
No, that's a good finish as well from Thompson.
And that's what they're going to need from Kat Carr as well. Yes, they're going to need her scoring prowess, but as you can see, 2 early assists from her, getting her teammates involved, getting that confidence high too.
Yeah.
Stewart, that's an offensive foul. Thompson taking the charge.
Well, you caught it with Thompson early,
Yeah.
and that's what she's bringing. She's bringing value to the team on the defensive end. Comes across there, gets in her body in good positioning, and Zania Stewart will be accredited with an offensive foul.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if her sole role today from Coach Renee Bush has been stop Zania Stewart. If you stop Zania Stewart, we stand a good chance of winning.
Well, Charles sits down. Beckford Norton into the game for the first time. Cross court to Fritz. Down low now to Carr. Squares up in the corner. Nice shot.
Well, Carr's really got going now, hasn't she? A couple of assists under her belt. Nice looking, effortless jump shot there. Good start from her.
Nathan Warner driving hard to the hole. Once a foul, doesn't get one. Carr throwing it down court to Fritz. Ball's kind of got a little stuck here for Sevenoaks. Thompson. Kicked out. Long 2 off the mark from Worth. Lena Warner passing out of the post to Beckford Norton. Carr with the rebound and almost not free by, well, it was not free by Winterburn, but out of bounds.
Well, London Lions not moving the ball as ordinarily well as they usually do. There was a bit of a quick shot there from Beckford Norton. Obviously didn't convert, but doesn't look like the free-flowing offense that we were typical of seeing from the London Lions so far.
I think, yeah, the
timeout call by London Lions here. Midway through the opening quarter, just 1 point in.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think the difference is that they're sort of static themselves as well. The reason that the ball was able to move so well and how we're used to seeing them play is because they move themselves. Like, even when they're not looking for it for themselves, they're cutting into space, they're moving into space, and that enables the ball to be sort of free-flowing, and I feel like that's not happening as much today so far.
But he's got a lot of different ways he can change the lineup. He could bring Cassie Breen into the game. He's obviously just brought Beckford Norton. It's nice having a playoff final MVP coming off the bench, isn't it? It's pretty.
Yeah, it is, and I think we're about to see Janice Monacana coming in as well for Sevenoaks, so that's a nice one to have off the bench as well. But no, I think, bringing Cassie Breen off the bench as well just spreads them out a little bit more. Zania's got a lot of attention in there so far. It's obviously part of their game plan to sort of clog the inside. It might just give her that little bit more space if there's those shooters on the perimeter for her.
Well, Monacana is coming into the game for the first time for Sevenoaks. And you said it, I don't think I've ever seen her have a bad final. She always comes in the big game.
No, and that's something that's it's absolutely priceless in games such as these. And I think the biggest challenges the two coaches have got now, they've got to find units now that work well, offensively and defensively, but you don't want to be playing too many players in a final because you need people in rhythm and be able to be productive for you.
Good hands from Beckford Norton to deflect that out of bounds.
Well, she's grinning because I think she was playing so hard to deny the pass, it just automatically hit off her.
Carr being chased by Beckford Norton. Drops it to Connor, instant impact off the bench.
That's the 1-2 you really, really encourage to see if you're a Suns fan. That Monacana, Cat, great link up there.
Yeah. Yeah, they know each other so well. You know, they played together for a while now, and that's a great link-up too.
And a nice cut to the basket from Winterburn for 2.
And that's what we're usually seeing, aren't we? The movement, like you said, they've been a bit static, the first 5-6 minutes of this game, but simple backdoor cut there. Players on the same page, results in a basket.
Here's Carl. Shot clock getting low here. Needs to go up. Hopper with the 3. Front time. Rebound Winterburn. Leader Warner looking for options. Back to Winterburn. Takes the 3. And knocks it down. Holly Winterburn. Second triple of the game.
Yeah, 8 points for her now. She's come to play today. It's so nice to see the young British stars shining on stages like these.
Bush trying to feed it into the corner, but Winterburn there to deflect it out of bounds.
And Winterburn too, she has that advantage of not just being young and extremely talented. She's been here before. She's played in a trophy final. She knows what it's all about.
And she's won here before. That's something I thought that as soon as I said it. Yeah, she's won here before.
Here's Carl trying to reply with 3 of her own. Oh, halfway down and spins out. It'll be a London ball.
She's done very little wrong there, and even on that shot that didn't go in, look at that. That was over halfway in.
They ought to give her a point.
That was
for
in
that.
a half point or something, yeah.
Pickford Norton. Here's Leonard turning the corner, getting to the basket and finishing well.
Nice play there. That's really good movement there. It was a simple handoff there. Switch, get the defense thinking, and Leonard found the gap and exploited it.
And they're just creating so much more space, aren't they, because they're moving.
Bit of a miscommunication there. Sees the Suns turn the ball over. It's going to come back in for Kat Carr. Beckford Norton. Back to Winterburn again for 3. Not this time. Good rebound from Thompson.
Suns got away with one there. They cannot allow Holly Winterburn to get even hotter than the 8 points she already has.
Thompson under pressure manages to get that pass away. On the corner with a bit too much zip on that. And it's out of bounds for a London possession.
Well, you can see what Janice Monacola was trying to do, that penetration create for her teammate, but that's turnover number 4 now, and the Sevenoaks have got to look after that basketball. That's one of those musts. I'm sure that was on the high list of Coach Renee Bush, was to look after the basketball.
I think when you play a team like London, you have to be efficient. You have to make the most of every single possession. You can't you can't have multiple turnovers. They're going to punish you for it.
Breen into the game, her first touch of the ball. Cross court to Beckford Norton. Mid-range jump shot. Thompson tips it down to Bush. Thompson trying to feed it inside, and Koppel ended up on the floor. And another turnover, 3 in a row. Winterburn at speed. Space for Stewart driving to the basket. They just sort of lost themselves a little bit defensively there, the Suns.
Yeah, I don't think the execution was great there from London. After Xenia Stewart set that screen, she didn't roll. She stayed outside there, which I thought if she rolled there was so much more space there between her and the defender. But anyway, she made something happen there. She's going to be shooting two free throws.
Yeah, she did. And I think they just kept moving, don't they? You know, I think one of the things that you see with them is how experienced they are. Is if something isn't quite working, if a play isn't quite working, I think they were in secondary break then, they don't panic. They just keep moving. It's a handoff. We're going to cut off the ball. I didn't roll, but I got it on the pop and I can drive. So, yeah, that's where their experience shines through.
Stewart short on the second. Lions leading by 5. Worse. Around the screen. Attacking hard to the hole, just too much on that. Winterburn. Third triple of the game for Holly Winterburn.
Well, you see off that missed shot there, the Suns are getting back, but they're all over the place. They're not matched up. One person you do not want to leave open, Holly Winterburn. Another three-point shot for her.
Big smile on her face as she runs back down court. 11 of her team's 16 points. Stolen away by Stewart. That's the 6th turnover of the game for the Suns. Bedford Norton able to keep it in play, but only by throwing it to Verts. Shot clock is off here. They can take the last shot, or they can go quick, or they can turn it over again.
That one is a little bit harder to take. They had the numbers there, 3-on-2, and still results in a turnover.
Winterburn this time. Bush with the rebound from half court. Ooh, couldn't quite hear her teammates count it down, so she's left 0.6 of a second on the clock. Peter Joseph's going to check in. It's going to be a heave here in 0.6 of a second. Winterburn, there's not time for a dribble. That will do it for the end of the first quarter. It started all right for the Suns, but turnovers and Holly Winterburn shooting has given the London Lions an 8-point lead at the end of the first quarter here in Glasgow. We'll be back with the second period right after this break. Welcome back to Glasgow, where the Sevenoaks Suns trying to put an end to 11 consecutive points by the London Lions. Suns led 8 points to 5, but haven't scored since then. Mainly because they keep turning the ball over. Here's Bush under pressure. Shot clock down to 5. It's into Thompson. Has the size, but good work from Leonard. In the corner, Fritz for 3, no good.
That's a really good defensive possession there from London Lions. Good rotation, nice hard on-ball defense. Made things very difficult for the Suns offense.
Bedford Norton out to Leonard. Stolen away by Thompson. Oh, and again, those are the ones. Sometimes the other team steals the ball, but when you throw it straight out of bounds like that.
Just unforced. That's their 8th turnover already.
Yeah, that's something you've got to, again, unforced errors. You cannot do that, especially against a team like the London Lions. Well, I mean, the good news is that London Lions aren't exactly firing on all cylinders.
Right, yeah, they've been a little quiet, haven't they? But it could have been a totally different story.
Well, that's only 5 points now off turnovers. It could have been a lot worse, but they're still stuck on 8 here, the Suns. It's been a long time since that Janice Monacana score. And another turnover.
Not sure why Thompson wouldn't just go through the defender there. Really good positioning for her, and she's got the size and athleticism to lay that ball up.
But there we go. Nice attack and finding her into double figures.
Yeah, they needed that to go down, and so did she. She can score. She can score in bunches, Frankie Wirt. So see if that sparks her off.
Joseph got the radar off.
That's the one thing I would say right now. Neither team are in a rhythm, and whenever you're a club going through your struggles on offense, the best news is the other club is also going through those same struggles. So, you're at a point now where you feel substantially, you're 7-8 turnovers, you should be down by a significant amount, but you're not. You're still within reach here.
Yeah.
Well, it's Holly Winterburn 11, Sevenoaks 10, the rest of the Lions 7. So without Holly Winterburn, she is the only one able to find a rhythm in the early stages.
Yeah, and just little sort of discipline things like that. You had Thompson stuck; she had nowhere to go. Shaquila played really good defense, and then you reach from behind.
Thompson has to look to be a little bit more aggressive here offensively. Yeah. She averages 7 points a game, and she's a high-energy player, but she's been getting good looks down low, and she hasn't been capitalising on them.
Trying to get the offensive rebound here. Does well to keep it in play. Cross to Bush for 3. First real sight for Renee Bush, and it's good.
Wow,
yeah, that will be good all day long.
It's a great look there, and Renee Bush, 46.7% from the three-point line. Incredibly deadly.
Yeah, you cannot allow her to catch and shoot.
Joseph knocked away by Thompson.
Oh, of course, Joseph's the latest addition to this London Lions team. She's played with a number of these players growing up. With Chantel, Charles was playing with her, etc. So it'll be interesting to see how she transitions in on a big stage such as this.
Yeah, they played together from young. She's also played on the GB team as well, and 3x3. So yeah, they know each other well.
They were a little short on talent. They needed a bit
they
more.
just needed a little more British talent, taking it from everyone else. but in a serious note, it's great to see so many British players and how well they're doing.
Thompson leaves that one short. Here's Leonard out to Breen, and the bench were worried about that.
At half court.
Yeah, Coach Bush shouted, corner, but they didn't react in time. The one upside, she just had a foot on the line, so it was only worth 2. Carr from the elbow, all strength.
That's just a veteran point guard. She used that screen and she just dribbled the ball in that pocket. It's really hard for the defender getting over that screen to contest that. Nice looking jump shot.
Yeah, it took her time. She was poised. That's a shot to pull up.
Bedford Norton, that's a tough shot from the elbow. Didn't quite have her feet set.
Yeah, they just seem a little rushed, which is something I didn't think that I would see from them. A little rushed, a little out of sync.
Here's Carr around the high screen. Stewart chasing her out. Carr trying to go past her. Good defense from Zania Stewart there. Well, I don't think that was intended for her, but unable to convert.
She doesn't catch that. It's a wide open cat car in the corner.
Bedford Norton driving hard to the hole. Tip doesn't go from Charles, and Sevenoaks can run the other way. Carr, nice pass back to Thompson, who will go to the line for 2.
Thompson is featured a lot on the offense right now. They're going to need her to really be in tune now with what's going on offensively, because she has an opportunity here to really put some points on the board here for this Suns team.
Yeah, she gets involved in the play a lot. I think Z should have just seen if she was gonna make that around the rim, because she can struggle sometimes. Like, her percentages aren't great, so I'm not sure I would have fouled her there. I just would have put her under a little pressure and seen if she would have converted it.
Second foul for Stewart. Thompson has been involved at both ends of the floor. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't actually show up on the stats, but she's had certainly more of an impact in the game than the 2 efficiency ratings she's got so far. And she goes 1 for 2 from the line.
Yeah, defensively, you know, she's just an absolute nuisance. She gets her hands on everything. You know, she has length and size, but she has the desire as well to want to play defense.
And she's been doing a good job of running the floor and getting good position inside. She just needs to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more composed, and just use her, the advantage that she's got in her athleticism inside.
Stewart almost loses the ball. That will be a jump ball.
That's fantastic hustle there from Azania Stewart. That is your, your star player. They're getting on the floor. She's frustrated, you can tell, but it doesn't quit the flight in her. And it's a really, really good message, I think, to the rest of her teammates. That ball should have been lost. It should have been a turnover, but look at that. Great effort.
Well, they don't get any points out of the effort. These verts coming the other way. Koppel picked it up in a slightly awkward spot there. Back to Carr. Again, Stewart doing a good job on the switch there. Koppel inside, and London snuff it out. Needham Warner given a lot of time and space. Carr with the rebound. At the elbow, cross court, room for Bush, and she's down court. She knows that's in.
Such a good pass. It's really difficult as well to get that pass to the money all the way across court, but Renee Bush again, ready, waiting, locked and loaded, knocks it down.
And I was watching her feet as well. She went off of the wrong feet then for her. She normally goes left, right, and she went right, left, and she still knocked it down.
2 or 3 from behind the arc. Here, Bush. He's Winterberg and she is now 4 of 6 from downtown.
That's so tough. That jab step gets the defender to step back that little bit there, which gives her room to make that comfortable 3-point looking shot.
No, you're not supposed to have favourites, but Holly is one of my favourites. She is. She always has been.
Here's Carr. Loads of room for works. Left it short. He just grazed the ring, so there's a reset with the shot clock. Bush putting it on the floor. Kicked out. The foul is called first.
That's good penetration there from Bush as well. Obviously, she's got that defender. Cassie Breen knows exactly what a shooter needs to get that shot off. Cassie Breen was up on her, and what Bush did was read the defense there and had that lane for the drive.
When you've got such a deadly shot, it is a weapon more ways than one, isn't it? You have, you bring people out to you. People have to long close out on you.
10-line ball to the Suns. Trailing by 4 as we approach half-time. Carr, long 2. It's good.
Carr, hand in her face, doesn't matter. 6 points personal for her.
6 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Early triple-double watch for Kat Carr. Wow. Here's Breen. She doesn't need too much room, does she?
Like you said, Dan, she's the leading scorer, and she's probably one of the more least talked about players on the squad. That's just a sign of a really, really good team, isn't it? When you're not really talking too much about a player of her caliber.
Yeah, and I think, it's invaluable to have people that come off the bench and understand that their job is to score, and if you don't score, you're not on.
Well, Kat Carr knows her job is to score right now for her team. She's up to 8, cuts the lead back to 3.
And she's been incredible. Incredible for not just her own personal production here, but controlling the offense and keeping her team afloat here.
Well, it's called for the hand-checking foul. Beckford Norton comes back for London, and Monacana for Sevenoaks. Winterburn. Ball finds its way to Breen. Breen in the paint. A little closer than normal shooting range, but able to knock it down. She's a perfect 3 of 3.
Wow, doing it in a different amount of ways here. 7 points personal for her. As you say, perfect from the field. Looks like she has the hot hand.
Nice pass from Carr. And there's a little push in the back there, I think, on Beckford Norton.
I think the trap was good, and then the primary rotation was really good. They rotated high, but got a little lost on the backside there.
It's a really good pass, isn't it? Really good pass. And Warwick does a good job as well. You've got to have your body in between the defender and the ball on those occasions, because it's really easy for a quick player like Janice Norton to come in there and scoop around and steal that, and that's turnover number 10. But she does that the textbook way, and as a result, the team's end line possession.
Len Bush calling a timeout here with 2 minutes to go. His team down by 5. I think here he's just thinking 2 minutes from half-time, we're only down 5. There's things here that we can correct in the second half. We turned it over 9 times. They've struggled a little bit at times in the half court. If they can just get to the locker room a shot or 2 behind, they'll feel in good shape.
I think so, and I think it goes to show as well the testament to the experience of the Sevenoaks Suns. How many times have we seen this happen? The London Lions have put their opposition in a grip hold, and they've just quit, or it's been so difficult for them to come back. They find themselves down by 20. This Sevenoaks Suns squad, they've been resilient. It's a 5-point game, and for all the troubles they've had, they're still in with a very, very good shot at this.
Yeah, and I think in almost complete contrast to the cup final, where you've got a brand new look sort of Newcastle, who had a new coach. They don't really know each other that well. Now, they're not having their best game London either, but you're sort of staring down the barrel at a team that's been together for 5, 6, 7 seasons. A lot of them. Some of them played together, like Renee was telling me. She and Jamila played together at London Towers when they were under 14. They know each other well, and they've won together. So they're not gonna roll over and give the game to London, and they're not frightened.
Here's Carr. Sits on the shot clock. 2 diving out at her, enough to put her off, and that will be a London ball from the end.
As you said, Dan, 2 diving at her, bodies are being thrown at her. Now they're trying to neutralise Kat Carr because they know that she's the orchestra of the offense right now.
Winterburn is fouled by Koppel. Her second personal foul.
It's been down for the Lions.
Beckford Norton, a great turn of pace to blow past the defender for 2.
Such an athlete, isn't she? Unbelievable trickery there with the ball, and that explosion up there to get all the way to the rim.
Yeah, when she puts on the burners, there's no way you're going to stay with her.
Bush. Shot clock down to 5. Bush spinning into the lane. Back the other way. Can she get the shot away? She can. Did it hit the ring? I don't think it did.
I feel like that screen there was a disadvantage because Bush had Breen on her originally, which you prefer that if you're the offensive player, but instead they switch out there on Beckford Norton, who's arguably the best defensive player, on-ball defensive player on the court right now. So I don't feel like that screen there worked out in the favour of the Suns, and they have to pay attention now to these little details because it's a team that's struggling to score the ball, like 23 points at the moment. They have to figure out a way now to exploit these mismatches.
Yeah, and I also think the screen was just so high, like high off the 3-point line. It's sort of a nothing screen right there.
for Norton. Good hands to deflect that out of bounds. Coach Mark Clark going to call a timeout now for the Lions with 7 seconds on the shot clock. I said it a minute or so ago, the last time out, you know, they have a chance here to go in a shot or two down Sevenoaks. London, conversely, have a chance in these last 40-odd seconds to open a double-figure lead and go into the locker room with a nice little cushion.
Yeah, smart timeout. You know, you have to use him. Why not use him, like you said, to go in with a little bit of momentum, and really sort of important point in the game to take this timeout and make sure that your team gets at least a good look.
It's a game of margins as well, isn't it? You know, all it takes is for 2 shots from Cassie Breen or 2 shots from Bush, and you know there's a 6-point swing there. So you know these coaches are always thinking they're the most paranoid people in the world, by the way. Coaches, you know, you can give them a 20-point lead and they'll give you an articulated reason of how that could go wrong.
How they can lose, yeah. Exactly. But they're always looking at percentages, aren't they? Margins, like you said. Thinking all the time.
The percentages haven't been great. You know, you look at shooting the basketball, 33% from the Lions. Again, much of that has been Winterburn carrying the load, but it's the Suns that have really, you know, they need to increase that 3-point percentage there to of course close this gap.
43.6 left in the first half. Lions ball from the end. Let's see what Coach Clark has drawn up. Back to Leonard. Well, this isn't what he drew up. It's going to be a shot clock violation. That'll drive you nuts as a coach.
Yeah, you can see his reaction. Yeah, he's highly frustrated there, and you can understand why. I think he knows that his team aren't on it. You know, we've seen this London Lions team play with, you know, top caliber clubs in Europe and not like out of place. He'll be, you know, win a lot of those games, and this is a team that's not on the same page right now.
No, they're not. And for some reason,
trouble.
Yeah, trouble. For some reason, to me as well, I feel like Kennedy's just being a little hesitant. I think, you know, she's such a good passer and she sees every single thing. Like, she sees every cut, she sees every person that's open. She's always looking at where the defense is standing. And sometimes I think if she just took it for herself and was a little more aggressive, other things would open up for her, because she's a scorer too. Like, she can pass, but she can score.
The last offense of the first half, and here is Leonard trying to score, but off the mark. Good offensive rebound by Ume. Back out to Leonard. The 3 is good from Kennedy Leonard to end the first quarter and to give her team a 10-point lead.
Wow, that's the worst ending for Coach Len Bush there, and the best ending for Mark Clark there. That's what they wanted. The play wasn't executed to perfection, but as you say, you know, that's the person that you want to be more aggressive and look for her own shot. Yeah,
you really do, and you know, you can tell she was happy to see that go down, and I'm sure her teammates and her coaches were as well, because yeah, she's deadly. Like, she's deadly offensively in every single area.
Well, 2 minutes from the end of the first half, we're saying, well, maybe Sevenoaks can go in a shot down. They've gone in 10 points down and 11 turnovers in the first half. They're going to have to clean that up in the second half, man.
Yeah, and the good news is they looked after the ball more in the second quarter. I think it was just 2 turnovers in that second quarter, but you know, 9 turnovers in 1 quarter is never going to be a good scenario. But the shooting, the woes continue. I think they've got bright sparks there out of Kat Carr, of course, and Renee Bush hitting a couple of threes, but they need more from the rest of their players.
Well, they've got to find a way of consistently putting the ball in the basket. 46 is not going to win them the ball game, that's for sure. And we have a look. The bench points pretty even, given how much strength in depth the London Lions have coming off the bench, only edging that by 3. Let's get some halftime reaction. Drew is with Kat Cole.
Kat, you're having an all-around first half performance. What are you seeing on the floor as you seem very comfortable on that side of the ball?
I just think that they're pressuring us pretty hard on the defensive end, so we need to calm down, settle in, and run our offenses.
And you've held the Lions to only 33 points. What's been the defensive plan to slow down this talented Lions group?
To be aggressive and lock in and make sure that we're staying with our men. We know what each of them do, so we have to take that away from each of their players.
And 20 minutes of basketball remains. What adjustments will be required in the second half?
We need to put the ball in the basket.
And the two juggernauts putting on a show for the WBBL. How important is this stage for women's basketball?
Yeah, I think it's really big, and I know this is what everyone's been waiting for, so, we need to pick it up, and hopefully it'll be a good show.
Thanks for your time. Good luck in the second half, Kat.
Thank you.
There is a task ahead of Kat Carr and the Sevenoaks Suns because they find themselves in a 10-point hole at the half. They'll take a lot of positives from their ability to slow down this London's offense in the first half. Reaction and analysis coming next. Welcome back to Glasgow, where at the half, the Lions lead the Suns by 10 points, although there are a lot of positives that Sevenoaks can take from this first half performance defensively, because this is a London Lions side that averages over 90 points a game. So the hold of the 33 at the half is a good return, but obviously they need to get their own offense rolling if they're going to get back into this one. We look at the numbers, and some of the things that stand out, particularly turnovers for Sevenoaks. Mike Tuck, part of our crew all season, and delighted to say with us for some halftime analysis. That's something that you wanted to mention, Mike. 11 turnovers for the Sevenoaks Suns, but they turned that around in the second quarter, didn't they?
100% they did. 9 of those turnovers came in the first quarter. To me, it just looked like Sevenoaks just needed a bit of time to settle into the game. They just looked a little bit panicked, and they just needed that time. In the second quarter, they did a really good job of cleaning all that up. Only two turnovers in the second quarter, and they started moving the ball, started scoring the ball a lot better.
Nerves calmed it a little bit, yeah, for sure. Bench points, something we talked about, Kieran, at the top of the show. And you have seen some quite interesting aspects of that in terms of the Sevenoaks, way that they've managed to hold London down as well as being productive from their own bench.
Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. You know, we were talking about how just how deep the London Lions were, and they can get a lot of scoring off the bench. Well, Sevenoaks did a really good holding the fort, making sure that they were still being productive and scoring, and actually that hasn't been a real advantage for any team thus far.
Standout player, I think it's fair to say, in the first half across the court was Holly Winterburn for the London Lions, a real emerging star in the WBBL, earned her first Team GB cap this season, and a fast start this afternoon, Kieran.
Great start for Holly. I just love how she gets her feet set. She's looking up at the basket. She's got the belief that she can score that shot. She only needs a little bit of space too with a quick release from the three-point shot. Great start for Holly Winterburn today.
We talked at the top of the show with Siobhan about the importance of having veterans in the locker room like Joe Leedham-Warner or Zania Stewart. Is Holly one of those players, Mike, that's really benefiting from that leadership?
Oh yeah, definitely. She's a young emerging player, and to have two players in the locker room like that to look up to learn off of every day in practice, it's extremely important for her development, and we can see, she's quickly becoming one of the best players in the league.
People will look at this Suns offensive return, look at the 23 points that they have put up in the first half, with all the talented offensive plays they've got, Kieran, and say that has been a down half by their standards. But how much of that has been down to the formidable defence we've seen from London?
It is all to do with London's defence. London, they've got great spacing. Shanice does a great job on the ball, but look at the help defence there. Finding the pocket, getting big steals, forcing turnovers. They are relentless defensively. I watching that game, they made two mistakes, I thought, from giving up 3 points, one for Renee Bush. But other than that, they are locked in the defensive end, and that's paying dividends for them. That makes all the difference in this game.
So, Mike, who offensively needs to step up for Sevenoaks in the second half to combat that?
I think, there's two players that stand out to me. One is Frankie Wirtz. I think, her first year in the league, second year as a pro. We've seen her do things throughout this season where she can score, she can create for others, she can drive, she can finish. She's the type of player that I think could stand up only with 2 points in this first half. And the other player is Thompson. Thompson, a player that only really averages 7 points, but I think she's getting a lot of good touches inside. They're feeding her the ball inside. She has the size to do it. She's got to start to look to be more aggressive.
One player that has delivered for Sevenoaks in the first half has been their skipper, Kat Carr. What have you made of her contribution in the first half, Kieran?
I think a lot like the Sevenoaks team. We said she's always the one who's leading this drive. She started a little bit slow, but then she got going. We talk about her IQ. She knows how to get to her spots. She got more comfortable as the game going on, and that's why they're starting to get back into this game.
Productive offensively, but defensively as well, she's impressed you, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. The matchup, one of the matchups we talked about before the game is her versus Joe Leedham-Warner, and I think she's done a great job on her. Joe's only on 2 points right now, and Joe's a player that averaged about 15 points a game, so holding her to 2 points the first half is a great job.
Let's talk about this all-round collective defensive performance from Sevenoaks, because London have been impressive in that respect, but you could argue that Sevenoaks have been pretty close.
Yeah, other than giving up the 3-point shot, I think they've been right in the game. We talked about Thompson being able to protect the paint. She's getting some big steals, diving for loose balls, getting some big rebounds, vital rebounds. It's kind of kept Zania Stewart a little bit quiet today as well. So, yeah, Sevenoaks are right there. It's just the 3-point threat of London Lions is taking them over the edge at this moment in time.
Mike, based on what you've seen in the first half, how big a deficit is 10 points? Is it tenable, credible for Sevenoaks to get back into this?
Oh, they're definitely, it's not without reach at all. I think 10 points looks like a lot. You're in double digits, but that's realistically only up 3, 4, 5 possessions away. And you got to hang your hat on defense. And if they can get 2, 3, 4 stops in a row, manage to get a couple easy buckets down the other end, this game is a different story.
How can they get the defense rolling, that's one thing, but offensively, how can they start to unlock the threat of this Lions team?
I think that the hard thing is they have to penetrate the defense first and foremost. Shanice has done a great job of not allowing Sevenoaks to penetrate. If they can penetrate into the paint, then they can start kicking the ball out to free up their Renee Bushes and everything else from the 3-point line. And right now, they're finding it really, really hard to do that.
All right, it's one is keenly poised. The boys certainly think it is still very much all to play for. And when you consider the history of the Sevenoaks Suns side and the talent in the roster, then 10 points is more than gettable. So a fascinating second half coming your way, and it's coming next. The two best teams in the WBBL going head-to-head for the second piece of silverware of the season up for grabs. And at the moment, the Lions in the box seat, but this one is all to play for. So let's get back to our commentary team as the second half is about to tip off. Siobhan, Ant and Dan.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yes, indeed. The two teams just getting their final instructions from their coaches before they go out. And Sevenoaks have got to put the ball in the basket here. If they're going to win this game, they're going to need at least 40 in the second half, aren't they?
They do, and I commented on this before the game. They need their 5-6 to play really well, and I mean production on offense. They've been really good on defense. They've made things very difficult for this London Lions team, but they need more from everyone else besides Kat Carr. She cannot do it by herself. Every Batman needs a Robin, and they need a supporting cast. And maybe there's some pregnant game there from Janice Monacano to come off the bench and lift there. But Wertz again, I think she's another player that needs to do more. And Thompson for me, she's got to get those high percentage shots around the basket.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think Tuck picked her out as well, Wertz, and I feel like she does have the capability, of scoring big. We've seen her do it. She did it in college. She averaged 15 points in her senior season. So she can do it. And they need her to do that right now. And you're right, they also need Janice to really kick in.
Bit of pressure on the inbound from the Lions. They're trying to get it to Wertz, but Leonard denying that. Eventually, Carr is able to get the ball. Shot clock down to 5. Brits needs to go to work here. Has to heave it a little bit. And misses everything. They've just turned the dial up a bit defensively, London.
Really good intensity from the Lions, wasn't it? But I can hear Coach Len Bush screaming that wasn't executed to design there. Again, the Suns weren't able to get into their offense. I think mostly due to that intensity from the London Lions.
But it's something we've seen over and over from Lions.
Lena Warner to the hole for 2.
Someone who's been relatively quiet, but I quite like that about Lena Warner. She doesn't force the issue. She lets the game come to her. Whatever the team needs, she'll do. And again, a very experienced, strong drive to the rim there.
Yeah, that's who she is. If you talk to her and ask her who she is as a player, she's a player that does whatever her team needs in that moment. She doesn't care who the top scorer is. She doesn't care who gets the most. She'll just do whatever she needs to.
Deflected out of bounds. So it'll be a sideline ball to the Suns with just 2 seconds to work with.
Yeah, but I was saying before that there's something that we see over and over with London is when they pick up their defensive intensity and defensive pressure, it translates to their offense. And they do it, we've seen that. They did it in the cup final as well at half.
Well, again, Fritz, at the end of the shot clock, having to sort of heave one up. Leonard out to Leadham Warner now for 3. 5 quick points in the second half for Joe Leadham Warner.
Just like that, she turns it on, and that's what superstars can do. They just find a way to input their prowess on a game.
It's not loose. Carr, look at Leadham Warner diving on the floor for the steal. Oh, and the pass to Winterburn. What a play from Joe Leadham Warner.
Incredible. That's your star player diving on the floor. Incredible effort. What an amazing behind the back pass. Wall on the floor. And a finish from Holly Winterburn. Wow.
You knew she was going to die for that, and I knew she was going to be the first one to get on the floor, and then the poise to be able to lift it over her head. She knew exactly where everyone was. There was no way Kat was going to get that ball first. There just wasn't.
Wow. Well, she has fired up her team here at the start of this quarter. And they have blitzed out to a 17-point lead. And you think back 2 minutes before the half, it was a 5-point game, and we were wondering could they get it to 3. 2 minutes after the halftime break, it's a 17-point game, and you wonder how Sevenoaks can even get a shot off.
Yeah, and it's their defense. We look at it again. When you've got your best player, not only your best player, one of the best players, if not the best player this country has ever produced, doing things like that. Like, how do you, as a young player, as another teammate on her team, not follow her and do exactly the same thing?
I'm surprised Holly Whittenburn didn't dunk the ball after that play. Adrenaline.
Imagine.
Oh, incredible effort, and it's just contagious too. I think she's an individual that just came into this third quarter here. Coach Mark Clark's clearly said, look, we need to step up the intensity, and London Lions have responded. On the defensive end, they have been suffocating.
Here's Carr. Again, the defensive intensity high from the Lions. Bush. Getting all the way to the rim, but leaves it short.
She did really well to get into that position. She just has to focus and concentrate on finishing the play, but really good penetration there from Renee Bush.
That's a football violation on Kat Carr, so it'll be a sideline ball.
I think the other thing on that defensive stance there for Lions was they go so hard, but they're so smart that if they're slightly out of position, they'll just switch, and they don't need to talk about it, they just do it. And it just makes it so hard to find any gaps anywhere.
I will say a special mention to Azania Stewart. Typically when the mismatch there, or the switch after the pick and roll, the big guy is usually at a disadvantage because the foot speed isn't there, the guard are attacking, but there isn't one instance where I've seen Azania Stewart struggle to keep up with the attacking guard coming her way.
No, and she uses her length so well, like her arms are always so wide. You know, she's a tough player to get by. And she wants to do it. She wants to play defense on the perimeter.
Winterbank trying to feed it to Leda Warner, and it's eventually a Suns ball from the end.
Yeah, the turnover there, I think they try to force the issue, but you don't mind that. I think right now you'd want the ball in the hands of Leda Warner just because of the positivity she's already brought to this second half.
Cut off the three, short. Works with the offensive rebound.
Great rebound.
Kind of trapped now. Gets it away to Carr. Suns still stuck on 23. Shot clock low. Needs to heave. It's the third time in this quarter we've got to the end of a shot clock and there's been a prayer. They haven't had any sort of easy look here in the second half yet.
We'll say none of those prayers have been answered.
Nope. Nice pass. And the foul is called. Stewart will go to the line for two.
Again, it's just the poise, isn't it, of Jo? She plays at such a high intensity, but she's also so calm at the same time. It's really hard to do. She makes it look easy, but that is not an easy thing to do.
Again, one of the bigger compliments I think you can make to Azania Stewart is, this is completely in contrast to the BBL Cup final we saw her. She was, dominant offensively, perfect from the field. Today it hasn't worked out for her in that way, but it doesn't mean that she hasn't impacted this game. Diving on the floor herself, her defense has been excellent. Her energy and her attitude has been positive, as if she has, made a major contribution offensively.
But I think this is it, isn't it? They're selfless players. That's what makes them so great. Their main goal, their main objective is win. That is it, and they don't care how they get there, who's on the stat sheet. They just want to win, and they're going to do everything they can each possession to make that happen.
Stewart fouled again and looking to add to this 15 consecutive points. They had 11 in a row in the first quarter. They've scored 15 in a row either side of half time. Converts the second. 23-26 looks a long time ago right now to the Sevenoaks Suns.
Look at that. They couldn't even get the ball in the hands of Kat Carr. The deny there was incredible. Leda Warner.
Koppel inside. Good touch pass. Carr. Finally, they're off 23. It's taken something like 7 minutes for them to score.
She's so good, isn't she? All of the chaos that's going on right now for the Suns, you know, Kat Carr finds a way to score the ball.
Freedom Warner knocks down the triple.
If there's anyone that's going to come to play and take her team over the line, it's Jo.
I start saying never awaken a beast there. That's a player
exactly.
you'd want to, you know, happily stay sleeping in the corner. Wow.
8 of her 10 points coming in the second half. Another turnover. They can't find anything easy, the Suns. Warner into a double team. Leonard. Needham Warner, shot clock getting low. Nice pick and roll. Stewart, one extra pass, that's beautiful.
That was actually really good defense from the Suns there, but it was just better offense. Great patience there. Used to the pick and roll, and finally, with 1 second to go, Joseph's finished the play.
Carr under pressure, slightly illegal pressure as the foul is called on Stewart.
A little bit overzealous there on that. But that's what you get sometimes with that high pressure defense. I think Xavier Stewart knows too that perhaps a little bit overzealous on that one.
But you'd rather that, wouldn't you? You'd
Yes.
rather her do that than, you know, not put herself in the position in the first place.
I think she apologised for that. I'm not sure I've seen too many players. Certainly
And
never seen you apologise for a foul.
Not to the other player. I think she apologised to her team.
Yeah. Monicana gets a hand, tipped that one over the crossbar there like a goalkeeper. There we go, out for a corner. Breen at the elbow, rims out. Winterburn done really well there not to commit a foul. Monicana shot is blocked by Breen. And that will be a London ball.
But again, that's just intelligent play. That's not drawn up. They didn't have to double team there. They didn't have to switch in the corner. They're going to who is the most dangerous player at the time.
Whenever you double team as well and there's not a significant disadvantage after the ball is rotated, that's when you've got good rotation there. And on that occasion, results in a turnover.
Well, the defensive squeeze has been put on by London here in the third quarter. And the hustle at the offensive end as well. Deflected away, 9 on the shot clock for London.
That's the thing about this, the Suns haven't dropped off. I still feel like the Suns are playing hard and they're fighting for everything. It's just London that have that additional level. I wouldn't say the narrative here is the Suns have came out sluggish in the second half. They haven't. They're still playing hard. They just cannot attain that next level that the Londons are currently at.
Yeah, and you know, in the first half, we didn't think that London.
It's a beautiful out of bounds play. Yes, it really is. And the size and the strength of Joseph, just the advantage there. Great finish, great play.
Breen was running the distraction.
Yeah.
And Joseph cut to the basket. And again, another forced turnover. Another good pass, and Needham Warner underneath. And Coach Bush has to call a timeout here with 3:50 to go in the third. His team have been outscored by 18 points to 2 in this third quarter.
Siobhan Pryor, you called it. The defense is the ignition for this London Lions team. The defense is the biggest difference from the first half to now the second half. And as we see, the production levels are just next level.
It is, it's smothering. And I think, you know, another thing, they're making it look easy again, but one of the hardest things to do is up your intensity defensively whilst not fouling, number one, also being poised, and then when you get the ball on offense, being patient, because it could look so different. They could come out, try their hardest, be everywhere on the ball, giving off fouls, turning the ball over when they get a steal, when they get a rebound, and that just shows, number one, the IQ of the team, but also the experience of the players that they've got out there on the court.
Well, that's the other thing at this end is there's been some good defense being played by the Suns, but they just picked them apart. You know, they've always found that extra pass for a score.
Yeah, it's just patience, isn't it? And then they have also improved. We said at the start of the first, you know, they were just a little static, London, and that's not the case now. You know, they're forcing rotation and people are cutting off the ball. So yeah, it's not what I'd want to be looking down the other court, the other half of the court. I'm not going to lie.
It's just a credit to the caliber this club has as well. Talent can only get you so far. It's that buy-in from each individual, and it's just selfless ball, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's also a credit to Mark as a coach. You know, like, he's really got a chance here, and I know he's absolutely loving it and thriving to coach high IQ, experienced players, and he can just do so much more with it, and he's really enjoying it.
Pause 3. Rebound pulled in by Wirtz. Bush back to Carr. Thought about the 3, but hand there to deny the first shot. And the second one is out of bounds.
It's just really difficult. You can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get Bush a shot. They're trying to get Katkar a shot, but they're just not there. They're all contested. Very, very difficult. And the issue there, the ball just didn't move. It stayed between those two players there. It's a lot easier defensively to guard a team when only 2 players are involved.
It is, and you have to know what are your weapons, who are your players when you're playing against a team like this. You know, create for Renee, drive and kick to her, let her hit a shot. She doesn't have to be open. She's got a quick release, but her having to create her shot for herself, you know, it's not going to go well.
Tough finish for Beckford Norton. I think there's a bit of a hold there on Beckford Norton.
Well, I bet she is an absolute nightmare as well.
Yeah.
She's her opposition. She just looks like she would be an absolute nightmare to play against.
Not fun. Spoken from experience.
Carr for 3. Can't keep it in play. Back to London it goes.
But they do have to find a way to get... Renee's not missed yet. They have to find a way to get her shots.
Just hasn't been there. It's not like she's, even forcing things up. They just haven't been able to get that situation where they found her. And even the times as well they have found her, they've been remarkable passes. They were cross-court, high-degree difficulty passes.
Yeah.
Breen. Short on the 3. Carr. Back line. Again, London grabbed the rebound. Leader Warner driving through, and that will stay with London. She wanted a foul, or she'll get it to an end-line ball.
And she had Breen in the corner as well. That's why she faked it.
If she has that back, she wants to let that pass go to Breen in the corner.
She would, yeah.
Joe Leader Warner sitting down. There's the Cheshire Phoenix fans ready for their men's team's final a bit later on. Coming up after this one. London Lions well on course for the first half of what they hope is a double trophy day. It's Fritz in transition, and that is the easiest score they've had in over 10 minutes.
That was a well-executed transition as well, but you're right, they haven't been there. They've been far and few between.
20-4 the score in this period in favour of the Lions. Leonard driving through, dishing it off. And because of this foul, she will go to the line.
That was behind her back pass as well. I'm not sure if the referee was in my view, but let's see. Yeah, a little behind the back dish.
Siobhan complaining about the position of the referee when she's off court.
They're never in the right place.
Referees can't get a break even when she's retired. It's unbelievable.
Retired? Not been put out anywhere, has it?
Has it? Oh, has it? I'm sure the graphic at the top said former.
No, you were trying to put the accountability on the graphic guy, huh, Dan?
Yeah. There's a lot of blame going on. There's a lot of blame going on.
So get down to Wildcats Arena next week to see Siobhan in action.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a long two from Fritz off the mark.
I cheer really well from the bleachers.
What do you say to the referees at the bleachers? That's my worry. What do you say to the referees?
Poor referee can't tee her up in the bleachers.
They've tried.
I think they can kick you out of the arena, to be fair. Oh, car's not looking. And that's out of bounds. And it will stay with the Suns.
I'm not sure how that didn't result in a turnover, but Cassie Green has the smile wide as they come there. She knows that she almost snagged that ball.
Well, it's easy to let things like that go when you've scored twice as many points as the other team. Oh, Bush in the right place at the right time for an offensive putback.
Yeah, she will be. She just keeps on working away quietly, Renee. Solid player for this team.
Good hands from Carr to pluck that one out of the air. Shot clock is off. It's been so difficult to score. I think you don't worry too much about the clock. Try and get the shot when you can, but that is another turnover. Carl was not convinced. It did look like it came off her.
Yeah, I think it's hard again, isn't it? Because her and Renee, they cut at exactly the same time into exactly the same space, and that's when you watch London, it looks easy, but it can easily look like that.
Beckford Norton driving in and finishing off an excellent third quarter as far as the London Lions are concerned. Jo Leedham-Warner doing the damage early on, and London Lions defense putting the squeeze on. They won that period by 23 points to 6, and they are 10 minutes away from winning this trophy. We'll be back with the fourth quarter after this break. Look at Leedham-Warner diving on the floor for the steal. Oh, and the pass to Winterburn. What a play from Jo Leedham-Warner.
Incredible. That's your star player diving on the floor. Incredible effort. What an amazing behind the back pass. Ball on the floor.
Welcome back to Glasgow, where the London Lions are 10 minutes away from winning the trophy for the second season in a row, leading by 56 points to 29. Can the Suns get anything going in a right direction? Well, that's not the way to start.
It was a good look too, and Manakana just needs to finish the play there. good attacking at the rim, and that's what they haven't been able to do enough of, just because the defense has been so compact. They like to settle for contested jump shots, which is not a sustainable way to put points on the board.
Leonard gets the handoff back. Out to Beckford Norton, deep into the shot clock, and Shanice Beckford Norton hits the triple.
It's 11 points personal for Shanice Beckford Norton, and she's been that quiet assassin, isn't she? You know, chipping away. She's made some really difficult moves to the basket as well. You know, using her speed and athleticism, but on that occasion, knocks down a three.
This is why they're so deadly. Any player at any point in time can go off and have, you know, like an 8-point personal, a few rebounds, a few steals. It's just so hard to stop every single player on the team. You just can't do it.
Wow. Even Stephanie Ume there, that's their import play, he just gets clattered on the screen. She averages 10 points a game. She is incredibly efficient. Yeah. And again, it just goes to show it's just more weapons after more weapons, and you think to yourself, goodness me, how do we stop this team?
Yeah, I mean, she's, you know, 6 minutes for her today. She leads the league in 2-point field goal percentage as well. She just, every position, they're stacked.
Kennedy Leonard driving to the basket is fouled. Carr got her first.
Good pinball machine there, bouncing off those defenders. Good penetration from Kennedy Leonard.
First one is good.
And she's been someone who's had a solid game that hasn't had to force the issue for herself offensively. You know, this one goes, that'll be 7 points for her personally, but she's got 7 assists. You know, she's been that selfless individual, making sure her teammates are in more advantageous positions than her to score the ball.
Carr cross court to Bush, battered loose. They still have it though, Sevenoaks. In the corner, Carr. Ume with the rebound. Ume back out to Leonard. 5 on the shot clock. Leonard with the step back shot at the free throw line.
That's so difficult.
It reminds me of Marina Johannes, a player. She's one of the best players in the world. Plays for France, and she does that from the 3-point line consistently. Just like a step back onto 1 foot, shoot the ball.
Not quite how they teach you it, but if it's effective, keep going here. Nice work. Good footwork from Manacano.
That's nice. That's really nice. Good body control there and awareness of where the where the basket is.
Stewart. Back to Leonard. Again, it's late in the shot clock. Beckford Norton with the miss. Bush with the rebound. Well, they've struggled to get the ball in the basket in the second half. They still haven't got to double figures 13 minutes in. Beckford Norton driving hard, falling out of bounds, and it will be a Sevenoaks ball.
It's a really difficult period of the game here now because, you know, it's the defeat looks almost certain now for the Suns, and it's that mental battle now as well. You've got to you're processing it while you're playing. You kind of know you've lost the game, but at the same time you still want to play for yourself. You want to play for your teammates, your fans, and you want to put on a good show. So it's really difficult right now in London too. They've obviously got that in their minds too. They've made themselves a substantial lead. They have to keep playing hard.
Carr at the end of the shot clock.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you're thinking about is the next game. They've got to play them twice in the league yet still. And I think, you know, now you've got to work on...
Something happened there to Stewart.
I think she rolled her ankle.
I don't know if it's an ankle or whether it was a clash of shins. Let's have a look. It's Ooh. Well, she's hobbling out of the game. It's definitely an ankle roll.
It's one of those ones too. It's really, really sore, and you know it's hard to say as well how long that's going to be. You know, because it's going to be a tender spot for her now for the next couple of weeks. You hope it's you know, sooner rather than later, where she's able to get back to full health.
Ume, top of the key, hits the jump shot.
When you've got players like that who can certainly carry the load, and Stephanie Ume is as efficient as she is.
It's just one after the other, isn't it? One goes off, another one comes on. The level doesn't drop.
Carr at the sideline. Gets into the key, out to Bush. A little bit of room for once for Bush, but she can't knock down the triple.
And I think as well for London, they've just got to stay disciplined as well. They've got to think about their next game. They can't turn the ball over, but also they can't just miss assignments defensively. There's no way Renee Bush should be that wide open on a three-point line ever.
No, that's very rarely happened, doesn't it, today? Kelly Lely just got sucked in there on the drive, which she knows she shouldn't do, as you say. So I think it goes back to that mental toughness and mental stamina as well. This has been it's a high stake game here, and they've just blitzed that third quarter. So you have to fight with all your discipline in your head to stay locked in here to see this game out.
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, what standard do you hold yourself to? Like, what standard do you hold your team to? And that's what you have to play to the whole time.
Carr to the fall-away, tough shot.
Yeah, that's hers. That's her money move. That drive hard, pull up, jump shot, mid-range.
McDermott into the game for the first time, bringing the ball forward.
Good to see her back on the court as well. A player who's been plagued with injuries this year.
Yeah.
Ume cleaning up the miss.
And another British player that's done really well out of Manchester. You know, went to college. He's played, I think, in Germany as well. So, an assortment of British talent. Exciting.
Here's Fritz. Shot clock needs to go up. 24-second violation against the Suns.
Fortunate there to not see the shot clock, and Koppel's been one of those players that you'd really want a little bit more of her offensively. She's 0 points for her so far today, but she's a player again that's been productive, 11 points a game. And it's those types of players that you need them to come in to not only provide their averages but give a little bit more.
4:24 remaining in the ball game. Coach Bush with the timeout.
What we're going to learn from this is all the switching that they're doing. The person that's setting the screen is not sealing their player and looking for the ball. Squeezing the screen is done, and that's what we're going to learn for the next game. We play them on Friday. We're going to watch it. We're going to see all the opportunities. You set a screen, you're going to be open. You have to roll. You have to open up every single time, right? You got 4 minutes. Play it out and try and learn a little bit. Let's go. Come on. But you got to go up and take this shot today.
Fascinating time out there for Len Bush. He's thinking about the league game that's coming up and how they can improve on this performance next week.
Excellent coaching. It's all about details. I think you need to get the details right to beat a club like London Lions. And I even thought too a few times, is Danish shoe, why are you not rolling? There's a lane there. Why are you not rolling? But it's clearly an instruction from Coach Clark to not roll on the screens. And he's right. What's happened is the switches have a lot of the time been a disadvantage to the Suns because they've just been basically switched out on another defender. And a lot of the time that defender can comfortably guard that player.
Here's Winterman, who really got them off and running in the early stages. Great block from Fritz from behind. Tom stops at the elbow. Doesn't quite get the roll. And Leland Warner keeps that in play. Winterman. Robinson Around to Leader Warner. Shot clock getting counted down. They're not going to get it away in time. So a defensive stop for the Suns.
It's one of those ones where you're given a grenade. So what I mean by that is Leader Warner's been given the ball there with about 3 seconds left in the corner. So she doesn't even have the whole court to play with there. And yeah, again, another occasion of the Suns. They're playing hard. You know, the Suns are playing defense. They're playing hard. And on that occasion, they got their just rewards for the stop.
Nice drive. Oh, doesn't get the roll. Thompson trying to keep it alive and does. Carr under pressure. She might have got fouled by her own teammate there.
Certainly contact. I don't know who it's from.
Winterburn draws the defense, dishes it off, and it'll be 2 free throws.
That's so incredibly, asset rich to have on offense there. The length of Leaden Warner and Holly Winterburn in the transition as well. They've got that knack to knowing where their teammates are as well, and they're long enough and good enough to find their way all the way to the basket if teammates aren't open.
Makes the second free throw. 3 minutes left here in Glasgow. London look to extend their time with this trophy in the cabinet to a second season. Oh, great finish from Fritz underneath.
It really was. Don't she made things really difficult for herself because she had that inside position, and if she'd stayed on that left side, she could have absorbed the body contact, but instead she kind of goes up and around, and tough finish there from Fritz.
Substitution for the Suns with Watkins checking back into the game. Warner. Ball goes back, 5 on the shot clock. Winterburn with the broken play, driving to the hole but can't finish. Oh, has it knocked away. Still playing defense in the last couple of minutes here, London. McDermott for 3. The rebound pulled in by Fritz. Baseline to Thompson. Oh, ripped away by Wirtz, who can't turn it into 2 points.
It's so well to regain possession of that ball, but again, it's one of those ones where on another day that's a finished basket with her eyes closed.
Leader Warner for 3. Last 90 seconds. Well, at the minute, the Suns are on pace to only get into double figures in 1 quarter in the game. And that is testament to how well the Lions have defended.
Everything has been made so difficult for this offense, isn't it? Every single play. And that's why the Suns have failed to put some significant points on the board today because of that. Opposition's defensive structure.
Leader Warner really upped the tempo in the early stages of the 3rd quarter when London were putting the squeeze on, and that will be her last contribution of the game. 6 of 10 shooting for 14 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists for Jo Leader Warner. You've got to feel that the MVP is probably between her and Winterburn.
And she's given something that's not on the stat sheet, that energy, that, you know, that role model mentality, a lead from the front. And again, it's contagious. It's just a positivity that just spurs across the team.
Here's a steal from Ume in transition.
Ume's done what she always does here, introduced into that game. 7 points personal for her. Perfect for the field.
Sometimes teams go through the motions when they have a big lead in the dying seconds. Not this London team. Bush getting the rebound. And they're right at the end, still getting a steal, and Winterburn says, no, we don't need any more points. They'll dribble it out, and the London Lions, for the second year in a row, will have their hands on the trophy. A dominant performance, particularly at the defensive end by the Lions. Just squeezed the life out of the Suns.
They did down, and that third quarter was that pivotal point of the game. They just came in out of that from that half-time break, and they just had that other mentality, that fifth, sixth gear that the Sevenoaks Suns just could not compete with.
Well, the London Lions have won this 36 points to 72. They've kept the Suns to single digits in 3 of the 4 quarters. A really impressive display by this Lions team as they pick up the second of what they hope will be 4 trophies this season. And given how they've played this game, given the team that they've beaten, you know, it's going to take something absolutely spectacular to stop them doing the clean sweep.
It is, and I think we get sometimes misled. The dominance that London we're seeing now, this hasn't been like that for the WBBL. It's been Sevenoaks Suns who have been the dominant team over the years, dominating other teams, picking up trophies. Now there's a sort of a change of the guard here, but as you say, Dan, this was a team that was 14-0. This wasn't a team that have, you know, ran together a really good trophy run and they found their way to the final. This is the 2 best female teams in the country right now, and again the margin was significant. That's a credit to the London Lions team.
Well, they've doubled the score basically.
Yes.
Of the second best team in the country, which is an incredible effort. And as I say, there's so many nice things to see at the offensive end, the way they move the ball, all the different scorers that they have, but really the effort and the hustle right to the final play. They got a steal on the final play. They kept playing defense, and that is a testament to coaching as well. Coach Clark has got them bought into that. We do not quit. We play 40 minutes. We don't mail it in.
No, and that's how you win a quadruple season. That's how you go a whole season undefeated, is when every single player be a cute baby too. She can play basketball and she has a cute baby. Wow, what a combo. But that's how you have a team as formidable as this. And look, I'm very presumptuous. I'm assuming that they're going to go on and win everything. But if they do, it's because of the mentality, the culture, that perfectionism that's demanded from Coach Clark.
Well, the 2 teams will head out onto court for the medal ceremony. The BBL chairman Jim Saker is out there, ready to do the honours.
A great journey for both teams to get to this year's final. Of course, there can only be 1 winner and 1 runner-up.
I think Sevenoaks, you know, it's not often you get beat by this many, but they can be pretty proud of the effort that they put out there. You know, this wasn't a game where they turned up and didn't play. You know what I mean? They played hard. They just met a better team on the day.
Agreed, and I think the biggest, when they watch this back in the video, the game tape, they'll regret the first quarter. I think they made too many unforced errors. It wasn't the same level as intensity as the London Lions were in the third quarter, and they didn't capitalise on them that first quarter. That's what you have to do in order to beat a team like the London Lions. You have to get out early. You have to put that little seed of doubt in the opposition, and Suns weren't able to do that. And I think it was to the detriment of themselves, you know, throwing the ball away, not being on the same page. Maybe there was some tentativeness there as well. And look, I don't want to say that the fear was there, because I know for sure excuse me, Kat wasn't. There was no fear in her because her mentality was that aggression the whole game. But I think when they look back, and they'll say, look, I think we could have done more there in that first quarter, the earlier stages of the match.
Well, the London Lions have been breaking records all year. This is the biggest winning margin in a final, which ironically was against them. It was Sheffield in 2016, where they lost by 34, and they've wiped that one out of the record books. It's a double win for them, really. And they come to get their medals and high-five their opponents on the way. Joe Leader-Warner getting a big round of applause from the Cheshire Phoenix fan, of course. She is from that part of the world. I'm sure she'll be supporting the Knicks in the men's final. And Coach Clark gets his little momentum. And sometimes we know it's a pretty easy pick as to the MVP, but still undecided as to whether it'll go to Winterburn or Leader-Warner here. Which way are you leaning?
I wouldn't want to make the decision, in all honesty. I think they've both changed this game in their each individual ways. I think had Holly Winterburn not started the way she started, maybe there, when I was explaining that fear comes in or a doubt comes in. But Leader-Warner was the catalyst, wasn't she, in that third quarter?
Ladies and gentlemen, your MVP, your golden MVP for this game was number 11 from London Lions,
Holly Winterburn. Simon Ozana called out the number and she had to check. Wait, it's 11? Is that me? It is Holly Winterburn with 16 points and 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, an efficiency rating of 25. And as you say, really got them off on a good foot.
She really did, and her plus minus is 30 as well, Dan. You know, she was, there in the pivotal points of the game, and again, people speak so highly of her attitude and the way she plays the game. She plays with such a beautiful naivety because of her youth, but boy, is she talented.
Well, the captain, Shanice Beckford-Norton, poses for the pitches, takes the trophy. She will turn to her team, and here we go. The London Lions are the 2022 Betty Codona Trophy champions. Well, it doesn't matter how many times you do it, it never gets old celebrating victories. But they will also have that mentality. Tonight they will enjoy, and then they go again, because they want to get the league, they want to get the playoffs, they want to get the clean sweep.
For sure, Dan, it's job done. Tick in the box, have a little bit of celebration, is on to the next one. And it's quite a unique, I think, perception of this London Lions team as well. Typically, we're in an arena right now, the majority of fans in here will be neutral, and it's like they've stolen the hearts of a lot of these neutral fans as well. Typically, you don't get that with heavy favourites coming into the game, but there's something endearing and there's something just likeable about this London Lions team that you want them to do well. And we've seen them represent Great Britain on the European stage, and how proud we were seeing them and doing that as well.
And they pose for the pitchers. Joe Leader needs to get in there. She wasn't quite there. She's in there now, and there it is, the WBBL trophy. And well, these are the moments that you remember when you get to your stage, when they're all in the background. You had some moments in this building, and they will enjoy that for sure.
It's the best, and it gives you that validation of why you do this, why you pass that ball up, why you dive on the floor and give yourself grazed knees, why you do all of those running in practice. It gives you that validation that you do it for the team, you do it for the unit, and there's no better reward of collecting those trophies with that unit.
Well, let's go back over to our studio and Nat and the team.
Siobhan, when you consider just how good this Sevenoaks Suns team is, right? They've only, as we said at the top, lost once all season long. Just how dominant a performance was that from London?
Yeah, I mean, it was. You know, the first half, it was closely contested, and you could really, really tell in the locker room. They'd had words, I'm sure Coach Mark Clark had words with them, and they came out in the third quarter. They really upped their defense, led by Joe Leedham-Warner, and that was it. From then on, it was just smothering.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I mean, because defensively they were pretty solid in the first half, but that third quarter in particular, that's when it was game over, Kieran.
Yeah, it just changed everything. The momentum completely changed. London started to feel more confident shooting the ball, so it wasn't a scrappy game anymore. From the start of the game, it was very scrappy. London started to get into rhythm, and there was no looking back then.
Let's hear from this afternoon's MVP. Holly Winterburn is courtside with Mike.
Holly, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, a massive double-digit win. Let's talk about your performance today. Where were you finding your opportunities?
I think I just try and make the right decision in every moment, and that can be scoring, assisting, stealing, and it's just we all do that, and that's what we really prided ourselves on, just letting the game come to us and just making the right decision. And we're so deep that's how we win by so much.
Yeah, and you guys definitely looked like a team today, and we know basketball is a team sport. A quick word on your squad and how they assisted you today.
We're so deep, and do you know what? We've worked so hard in practice. We go at each other every single day, and we just make each other better, and we really respect each other and want each other to do well, and it doesn't matter who scores, who does anything. We're just a team, and we just want to get the win.
Now, most of the damage was done in the second half. What really changed for you guys from halftime?
We just turned up the intensity. I think we all came out, we were a bit nervous, like a big arena and stuff like that. And at halftime, we just we are who we are. We're London Lions. We need to show it and make a statement to the rest of the league that we don't want to be played with.
Well, this is 2 of the 4 pieces of the season silverware that's up for grabs. Is your team looking for a clean sweep this season?
Oh, yeah. We won all 4.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, they've made no secret of their desire to win all 4 titles, and why not when they're playing like this? She had to check. It was her number being called when she was announced MVP. That's pretty much the only misstep she had all afternoon, Siobhan.
Yeah, it was. But again, testament, to they just want to play. Like she said, they just want to win. They genuinely do not care who scores the points, who gets the stats. They just want to win.
She had a brilliant first half in particular, Kieran, which really set the tone for their offensive performance.
Yeah, definitely. She set the tone. Like I said, it was a very scrappy first half. She was the only bright spark from the offensive end in that first half. But then second half, she settled. She was getting more assists. That I think from a Sevenoaks perspective, they put a little bit more focus, emphasis on her three-point shot. Then she started making the passes and still come up with some big steals.
She talked then about the importance of team, which is a message the Lions push repeatedly in a lot of the interviews that they do. So on that basis, who else stood out for you today from the Lions side?
I mean, you have to say Joe. Without that little spark that she had in that third quarter, do we end the game with such a big margin? I'm not sure, because she put the team on her back. And yes, they talked about it in the locker room, but it takes somebody to go on the court and lead. And she's one of the best players we've ever produced, and she's diving on the floor after everything. She's so hungry. She really set them up to win today in that second half.
It was a brilliant performance from her, and indeed from this entire Lions roster. Let's hear from their winning coach now. Mark Clark is courtside with Mike.
Coach, back-to-back trophies, and since we saw you in last year's trophy final, this club has been on an absolute tear. Talk to me about today's performance, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah, but obviously I'm going to say it's a great defensive performance, but before I say that, the reason we're here is that Betsy was fundamental in the WBBL being set up. So if we're putting a performance like that, that's for her. And she's put the women's game where it is. And I feel proud to have known her, and I feel proud that we've done a job today on the defensive end. It was just unbelievable. We've just kept a great team to 36 points.
And was that something brought up in the locker room before the game?
Well, we talked all the last 2 weeks about our defense. We've talked since Europe about the fact that our defense has to be at a different level, and every single week we get better. Our practices on Tuesdays in particular are just like wars. They play hard against each other. So we brought it out there in the second half, and I just heard Siobhan say, Joe Leedham just leads this team in terms of accountability. If she's out there, she's making people accountable. And if Joe Leedham wants you to do it, you're going to do it.
Incredible performance from Joe Leedham, but also from Holly Winterburn. A quick word on your MVP.
Holly Winterburn's a basketball player. Holly Winterburn, I don't think you've seen the best yet. I think the biggest thing I can say is Holly Winterburn can get to the levels of Joe Leedham.
Now, a fantastic win for you guys today against a worthy opponent. How does this carry you into the rest of the season?
Well, we're going to find out Friday. We played them Friday. They're a great organization. They're really well coached. And you know, Mike, that, a wounded out, the guy with a back against the wall, the guy that's just been beat up is going to come back with something. And they're too good an organization not to come back with something on Friday night. Be a great game for people to watch.
It will indeed. Congratulations, Coach. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's look at that more, of course, because both of them unbeaten in the league, and they square off on Friday, which presumably will be the title decider. So how will Sevenoaks approach that game? Because as Mark said just then, a wounded animal is a dangerous proposition. They're going to have had their pride battered a bit today, given that performance. So how do you see that game playing out?
I mean, I think, they start in practice. So what's happened today has happened today. They'll look at film. They'll look at where, they can gain an advantage or what things they can do better than they did today, and it'll just start in film, going hard against each other. They have to replicate that defense that they saw today from London if they're going to be able to be successful against it in a game.
What are the positives you can take from Sevenoaks' performance this afternoon?
I think, going back to that first quarter, I said it was a scrappy affair. I believe that London Lions, the best London Lions versus the best Sevenoaks, London Lions are going to come out on top, so it has to be scrappy. So how can they change the narrative a little bit? That scrappy first half, getting back to basics. How did they do that? Thompson was a disruptor down low in the paint, causing a lot of problems there for the London Lions. They have to look at those positives and say, how can we replicate that for 40 minutes?
Well, let's hear from their coach to get his perspective. He's courtside now with Mike.
Commiserations, Coach. A tough loss for your side today. We talked briefly before the game, and you said today was going to be a battle. How do you rate today's effort and performance?
That's a tricky question. I think what Siobhan was saying was pretty spot on. We need to get back to, we're going to look at this and find some ways to score more points. London's pretty potent, so they scored 72. We just have to score more and hold them down a bit more. They shot the ball well. Their defense bothered us the whole game, and we need to find some answers. And we will. We'll learn and we'll get better. And all credit to them. They played a great game. They're actually better than I thought they'd be. So it presents, gives us something to work towards.
Definitely, and still a lot to work towards for the rest of the season here, including a rematch of this final in league play next week. Your team's still undefeated in league play, 14-0. Will this loss today light a fire underneath your team?
Well, what do you think?
It would for me, Coach.
Yeah, no. I mean, if it doesn't, then there's something wrong. And our team's very competitive, so we'll take it to heart and we'll get to work. And whether we can sort it out in 4 days or not, we'll see him again the last game of the season and maybe again in the playoffs. So, we'll just try and we just have to get better, and we will.
Okay, well, again, commiserations, Coach, and thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
No surprise that's his reaction, Kieran, because this isn't, a scrappy insurgency that's made it to the trophy final. It's a heavyweight WBBL franchise, so they will be back.
They will definitely be back, but I was so surprised to hear it saying he didn't know the London Lions was as good as they were. That to me, if you've been watching London Lions right now, you know exactly how good they are.
Yeah, well, what is their ceiling then? Let's end on that, Siobhan. This Lions side has impressed us every time we see them, even more so. What is the ceiling for this Lions franchise?
I mean, I think the exciting thing is that, is there really a ceiling? If they're continuing to get in the support that they're getting, from backroom staff, and then you've got an amazing coach, a really experienced coach in Mark, you've got British players, our best British players that want to come back and play for them, there is no ceiling, and I'm excited to see where they go.
I think you and me and everybody watching at home can agree on that. It's been another brilliant performance from this London Lions side, but that is just the first piece of business for the Lions organisation, because they go again in the BBL final, which is coming next. Siobhan, great to see you. Many thanks indeed for your time and for your insight. Looking forward to catching up with Siobhan very soon. But next up here on Sky Sports, it's the men's BBL trophy final.
Top of the league, 440, I come with a speed. 440, I come with a speed. Number one, that's top of the league. Fully focused, what do you mean? Got my eyes on the prize, that's me. Fully focused, what do you mean? Got my eyes on the prize, that's me.